Hello, hello. Welcome to our video 5. This is the end of our series coming up. I hope you're getting so much tremendous benefit from this work. As I say, yoga has changed my life. I cannot imagine who I would be without this path of yoga. And I hope that you're getting a spark as to maybe how it can benefit you too. So let's do a little bit of a review here. What is inner work? Inner work is personal development for your soul, right? Personal development for your soul. We've learned about how there is a physical body. We've learned how there is a breathing sort of electrical body. We've learned about the intellect, our logical perception, emotional body. We've learned about this inner knowing, this inner wisdom, gut body. And then we've learned about this seed inside of us, this true self that we are in the goal of yoga moving towards. I want to go back to the first video right now and talk about our definition of yoga. Okay. So yoga, as I said, is an approach to health and well-being that promotes our harmonious collaboration between the three components of a human being: body, mind, and spirit, or life or breath. Again, yoga is an approach to health, which we defined as balance, and well-being, which we defined as a veil lifted from suffering, to promote harmonious collaboration between the three components of a human being: our body, our mind, and our spirit or our life. Okay. So we've talked about how does yoga work in the physical practice, the physical body and the breath that we can see, right, in our Western medicine. How does yoga work for the mind, which you can't really see? We can like sort of put I mentioned the frequencies of our body. We can sort of test it, but once we get into this inner knowing, this sort of gut instinct, there's no way to test it. And I can't teach you to do it, right? Because it's your connection to that inner self. And now we're getting even more subtle into the idea of how does yoga work for the spirit. Okay. So in terms of you diving deeply into the practice of yoga, which is thousands of years old, the texts that we look to are the Bhagavad Gita and the Yoga Sutras from Patanjali. So these are the ideas, these are sort of the general texts that people use when they really want to do the dive into the classic idea of what yoga is. I'm giving you a quick little overview, but if you wanted to do a deeper dive, those would be the texts that I definitely would recommend. And at the end of the course, I'll find a way to do a list of the books and things that I would recommend. Also, if you want to learn more about how you do the physical alignment, right? I'm going to offer a fundamental yoga series where we're actually going to learn like what is triangle pose, what is warrior two pose, and what is tree pose. How do you do it correctly? What are the breathing techniques when I want to go to sleep? What is a breathing technique when I'm really angry with my husband or wife, right? So I will have a whole different series on the fundamentals of yoga. If you're interested in that, just let me know. Also, if you're interested in learning how to do the yoga that I'm talking about in this course, that is what the Inner Circle is. The women's group that I've been running for quite a long time. We are learning the yoga off the path and so off the yoga mat. And I will talk about that in this video. Okay, so let's dive deep. The way that they describe it in the Bhagavad Gita, which I think is such a lovely way to think about it, and you know about the different koshas now, so you're going to be able to follow along pretty easy, is imagine a carriage and horses traveling on a journey, right? Imagine that. You've got the carriage, you've got the driver, you've got the horses, right? And they're just traveling, going to wherever, right? Going wherever they're going to go. Well, this analogy we can use as our life. So in this Bhagavad Gita idea, the carriage is your literal organ brain, right? It's your real brain and what it's capable of doing and how healthy it is and all the things. That's your carriage. The person driving, that's you. That's you. That's that ego, you. Okay. The horses are your thoughts. And we know science tells us an average person thinks 60 to 80,000 thoughts a day. 60 to 80,000 thoughts a day. As I've mentioned to you in the last video, I'm a mindset coach. Out of these 60 to 80,000 thoughts a day, a lot of them that have not been thought about, you're just repeating again and again and again. They're beliefs that your family of origin has sort of given you. They're what happened to you in the third grade. There are things that you think are true that maybe aren't true for you anymore. Remember, a belief is just a thought we keep thinking. So these 60 to 80,000 thoughts are just beliefs that maybe you haven't even investigated, and your thoughts are just kind of running the show here. So again, the carriage is the brain. The driver, that's you. The thoughts are the horses. Now, what steers the horses? The reins. That is the mind. The brain is driven by you, steering the thoughts. How you steer those thoughts is going to be where you go in your life. I know. Isn't that lovely? Isn't it lovely to think about that? If I think I'm unlovable, and I think I'm unworthy, and I think I'm no good, and I think all these things, I'm going to let my thoughts, I'm not going to have any reins, and I'm just going to let these automatic thoughts that I've always believed take me down some pretty dark roads. True story. Been there, right? You've been there too, I'm sure, in some way, right? Maybe you can look at the results of your life and you can see not having controlled these thoughts got me into toxic relationships, kept me stuck in a job that I don't love, ate a lot of food that's now my blood pressure's high, or I've got alcoholism, or, I just letting myself run rampant. What we are doing in yoga, is we are using the path of yoga to steer the mind with the intention. Remember the mind, back here, of who I want to be, right? That mirror, that truth, that acorn of who I want to be, who I'm supposed to be, who I could be, is taking control, because I'm spending enough time connecting to, it doesn't feel good when I don't get sleep. I don't feel like I'm congruent with the way I want to be showing up, right? So I'm driving myself more and more from this inner knowing, this deep, deep soul wisdom, rather than the ego of I've always done things. Is that making sense to you? I really hope it is. Okay, so what am I talking about? Let's break it down. Let me look at my notes to make sure I've said everything I want to. Yes, I have. Good. Okay, here's what it is. So, what comes into our self, right, comes in through windows, right? Can you guess what the windows are? Our eyes, our ears, our nose, our mouth, and our skin, right? These are the windows to us. So if you're watching a lot of violence on TV, or you're worrying constantly about the news, or you're eating salt and vinegar chips, true story, again, being honest, right? This is what you are clouding, perhaps, your true essence with. So in the path of yoga, we don't do yoga. I hope you're seeing that we are using the path of yoga to be noticing what we are feeding these windows. So I did a little diagram here, and I'm hoping you can see it. Well, we have a nose, we have a tongue, we have our skin, we have our ears, and we have our eyes. These are the windows to ourself, okay? We can smell, it smells like a dirty diaper. We can taste strawberry, lemon, blueberry. We can touch, we can feel a smack, we can feel a tickle, we can feel a softness, sound, really high frequency sounds that feels piercing, really loving frequency that feels relaxing, a guitar, a baby crying, a dog barking or yelping, and we can see shape. So the windows take in these things. Now, the reason I want you to notice this is, if we are not focused, remember how I talked about the idea of listening to all the chatter, but holding the reins. Well, if I'm only noticing the smell, I close my eyes, smells like cinnamon rolls, right? I'm able to take it in. But if I'm worried about this and I got the kids crying and I got the laundry going, and I got this again, I may not even notice the cinnamon rolls because all the windows are too much overwhelmed, too much plugged in. Or I'm completely shut down because I haven't lived in a way where I can take in the smells. I haven't really noticed the subtleties of my life. I haven't sat in that surrendering and that humility and that presencing of the Vijnana Maya Kosha, which is most of us. Okay, that's most of us. No shame there at all. But what I want you to know here is that focusing our mind, and we're going to talk about how to do that in just a bit, just at the end of the video here, focusing our mind. This is a little arrow I've drawn for you, right? The way you take in the information, right, goes into your intellect, right? That is the Manomaya Kosha. It's cinnamon rolls. That smack hurt. This sound is pleasant. I like it. This tastes sour. That kind of thing. It's going into the intellect and I'm perceiving the information. But once I can take the reins of the horse, right, and let it permeate inside me, we go into the deeper mind, the Vijnana Maya Kosha. I don't judge it. I don't prefer it. I don't even experience it. I become one with it. It is the reality that there is a cinnamon wafting. My belly is growling. Even talking about it, I'm like, cinnamon roll sounds pretty good right now. So, I mean, it goes into the mind deeper and deeper. And then we have the wisdom. We are able to make sense and be in this moment. So the focus here right now for you to understand is, are you taking in too much in these windows? Or are your windows a little dirty? And in the inner circle, we talk about decluttering these ideas. In the Ayurvedic morning routine, we're scraping our tongue. Every day we're scraping our tongue so that we can start with some fresh taste buds. We are doing things to clean out our ears and our eyes, and we're noticing our smells, which is one of the most primal senses that we have. I mean, when you fall in love with someone, it's because you like their smell, right? When you are repelled by someone, it's because you don't like their smell. So I want you to notice, as you think about the reins of the horse, what am I letting into these windows? What feels like I'm always sort of dominant in and maybe less dominant in? Maybe you really love listening to music and you really love reading, but you don't so much like getting a massage, right? Noticing, right? Getting aware, which brings us to our final ponder here, which is what's known, at least in my studies, as the 8-limb path. Okay, the 8-limb path. So let's take some breaths here. Feel the physical body. Feel the breath. Feel all that you're learning in this course. Taking what really resonates with you, what really is exciting you, curious to you, that you want to go exploring on your own. And then come to me right now with a really open, surrendering, maybe even grateful or humble opening as we explore what I'm talking about now. This is the end, okay? I got to take off my sweater. That's how much of the end it is, okay? The 8-limb path. In terms of 8 limbs, there are different ways. There's thought of as like a branches of a tree, not necessarily a ladder. So it's not as if you climb step one, limb 1, then you get to limb 2, limb 3. It's like a monkey swinging back and forth, because remember how we defined health? Balance. So when we balance out these 8 limbs of yoga, not only do we walk with contentment and peace, but we have a deep knowing of who we are, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And when we have a deep knowing of who we are, we see the oneness that you also have your good, bad, and ugly, but we are connected. So the idea is that we, as human beings, feel the need to separate, just like the ocean pulls back. But then what does it do? It reconnects, and then it pulls back, and then it reconnects, just like we do, right? We are connected, and we separate, we get what we need, we connect, we pull back, okay? So the 8-limb path, and this is the order, but again, they're swinging like monkeys in a tree. The first two, and these are the most important. So when you practice yoga, this is the first two things that we think about are known as the yamas and the niyamas. The yamas and the niyamas. Now, yamas are known as restraints. They're known as sort of holding ourselves back from just being wild animals, just doing whatever we want to do. And the niyamas, the second limb, is moral conducts, observances, ways that we want to show up. Okay. The yamas and the niyamas, there's 10. So you could think of it like guidelines or principles or commandments if you follow the Catholicism or Christianity, right? These are just the moral and restraining codes to keep us to be, a person who's walking the Dharma path, a person who's aligned with the truth and the way that they want to be showing up, right? Lifting the veil of suffering. And I'm going to go into what these are in just a minute. In the inner circle, that is the work. We are focusing on these yamas and niyamas, these 10 principles. The third limb out of the 8 is asana or asana. These are the yoga movements. This is what most people are familiar with, how you're physically moving in your body, right? The fourth is the breathing, noticing the nervous system. When my breathing is short and choppy, I feel anxious, right? If I'm angry, maybe I'm holding my breath. So having a calm nervous system by moving through that pranayama. Okay. The next one is dharana, learning how to focus the mind. I'm sorry, I messed it up. Pratyahara. Pratyahara is the next one, where we are closing out other people's opinion. I got to do this again so you're not confused. The yamas, niyamas, the asana, the movements, the pranayamas, the fourth, the fifth one is the pratyahara, where we're quieting other people. You're quieting the teacher, you're quieting your parents, you're quieting even the wonderful texts that you're reading. You're going in, withdrawing your senses and going into your own inner knowing. You're turning on your dialogue, your openness to hear this inner wisdom. Okay. The sixth is the ability to start focusing the mind. This is where we start taking the reins of the horses and bringing our mind to be able to concentrate on something, concentrate on our breath, concentrate on things that are going well for us instead of things that are not going well for us, not believing all the 60 to 80,000 thoughts, but starting to focus our mind. The seventh level is the ability to actually go deeper into sort of melding together with the meditation. Who am I? Letting that come up. What is the point of my life? What is the meaning of my life? Letting it come up where you are in the meditative state. So the concentration is using the tools to get to the meditation. The meditation is you are at that state. And then the eighth limb is the limb where you are at that state. You are at your bliss. Again, how we are restraining ourselves, how we are showing up in our conduct, how we are moving, how we are breathing, how we are quieting all that outside noise so that we can learn to focus, so that we can become one with this inner wisdom, so that we can walk the path of bliss, the knowing of the self, which is who, right? One. We are all one. Health and well-being, harmonious collaboration between the body, the mind, and the self. I am all of that. You are all of that, and we are connected. I'm never alone, right? We are one among many. Okay? I know, it's really a beautiful thing. So that is the 8-limb path. And then finally, what I want you to start with it, which is your homework from this course. And if you wanted to do it with me, you could do it in mindset coaching work. I have the Boss program where we do weekly coaching calls. It's a 3-month program. I do a VIP, which is a real deep immersion into personal development. That also is a 3-month course where it includes private yoga sessions and mindset coaching and sort of real-time coaching as things come up in your life. or the Inner Circle, and these two programs come free with the Inner Circle, where you're getting unlimited yoga classes at Ahimsa, so over 100 yoga classes to meet you where you are, plus you're getting weekly meetings from the Inner Circle where you are doing 12 different months of healthy habits. So learning a bedtime routine that works, learning a morning time routine that works, learning how to watch the timing of your eating so that you're eating the most healthy, building creativity into your life, building sensuality into your life, looking at how your relationships show up. So really important habit. Each month has a different habit that we are sort of coaching on with each other, but also in real time with other people. So you're seeing other people doing the same work you are. Everybody is at different levels. Okay. And to learn more about that, you can always reach out to me, innergazeyoga@gmail.com, or I do have a webinar about habits that sort of describes how we do this in the Inner Circle. So you can reach out to me and I'll send you that free webinar on bringing healthy habits and what is a habit and how do you make healthy habits for yourself. Okay. So what are these 10 main basic principles of how to walk the yoga path? Okay. These are the first 2 limbs of those 8. So the first one is we're not violent. Ahimsa, the name of the yoga studio. We're not violent, right? Everybody's got some violence. Everybody's got some toxic thoughts or some negative self-talk, right? You're noticing that you're not being violent. Okay. The next one is we're not stealing. Right? We're not stealing. It doesn't literally mean taking something, the stapler from work. You could be even stealing someone's thunder, right? Someone's telling you a great story about how sweet their husband is or how sweet their wife is. And like, my husband would never do that. You steal their joy. You steal their joy. The third one, I want to make sure I'm giving these in order, is non-hoarding. Okay. So we're not hoarding. We don't have more than enough. We're not hoarding. I have more than I need. I'm buying 6 pairs of khakis. I'm not giving away those old pots and pans, even though I got new pots and pans. I'm not going to give that away. The fourth is that you are not wasting. You're not wasting. You're not leaking. So some people would say it's like celibacy. And the way I love it is Tommy Rosen talks about, meeting, if you're in a committed relationship, right? Say that you have a wife, right? When you see other women, right, you're not looking at them as wife potential. That's what we mean by sort of not wasting energy. There's only one wife for you. Everybody else is a mother or a sister or a daughter. You're looking at feminine energy from a way that is not that one feeling, which is there's one wife for me, everybody else, or one husband for me, but a son, a father, or a brother. And then finally, we are moving into no lying. We're not telling little mistruths. We're not saying that we did something we didn't. We're not exaggerating. And most often people do that. We all do that, but you're noticing when you do it, right? All these things are things that we do as human beings, but you're actually being aware of it. Again, you're nonviolent. You're not stealing. You're not hoarding. You're not wasting, and you're not lying. Okay. So those are the yamas. Those are the restraints. The niyamas is the way you are observing or the way you're showing up in your moral conduct so that you feel connected to the truth of who you are. The first one is cleanliness, like you're taking care of your skin, you're taking care of your diet, you're taking care of your teeth and your nails. You're really trying to live a clean life, even down to like feeling that house you live in feels a little bit organized and you feel different when you feel clean. The second one is a sense of santosha, you're content. Right? I like to say, what if you pretended that everything you could possibly want or need, you already have right here, right now? What if there was nothing else? What if this was enough? Right? That's the way we walk with this idea of like, what if my partner was enough? What if the children as they are enough? Okay. Third is tapas. This is self-discipline, right? There's a saying that yoga is just getting to the yoga mat. It's not about all this other stuff. It's just disciplining yourself to do these practices, Okay. The fourth is self-study. Are you being self-reflective? Are you noticing what you believe to be true? Are you noticing what you believe is the right thing to do for everybody? Being self-study, either again with a therapist, with a mindset coach, in a group, a community of people who call you out, really pondering questions, not just taking in information, not just taking it in, but actually really processing it, assimilating it, journaling it out. And then the fifth one is our devotion, that idea of surrendering humbly, in appreciation and gratitude, that there is so much more that's bigger than just me. I'm this, but there's so much bigger than me, and moving our lives from there. Okay. So again, we have our cleanliness. We are living a life of contentment. We are living a life of discipline. We are living a life of self-study, and we are living a life of sort of devotion or a humble bow to nature, to art, to God, to soul, to love, whatever it is, so that we can lift the veil of our suffering, which is to know ourself, our truth. Okay. Oh man, I am so thrilled that you've watched to the end. May this work be of such deep benefit to you. The path of yoga has opened my life, opened my heart, opened my mind, opened my body, opened my spirit in so many beautiful ways. And my wish is that it does the same for you. So much love. Deep, deep, deep bows. If you'd like to work further, please reach out. Deep bows. Mwah. Namaste.